Thanks for being here. It's good to see everybody again. Couple tidbits before I open it up for questions. First, want to thank or congratulate the Fighting Shianos, Coach Shiano. 6-2, bowl eligible, playing a huge game in November is big. It's big for me. It's big for our athletic department, big for the university. So congrats to those guys. Meredith, Coach Meredith in field hockey. 15-1, lost a tough one Sunday, but they have a really, really good chance to win a Big Ten and national tournament. So don't really know much about field hockey, but she's got me watching it, so I'm fired up for her. Colin Osborne and his crew for putting this together. Obviously, Brad, anytime we could do a media day, and I'm struggling with this mic right now. I don't know why. Can you guys hear me good? Yeah. But thanks for you guys for putting this together. Thanks for you guys for being here. Obviously, this time of year, I won't touch it. This time of year, I'm always fired up, right? It's the beginning of the year, so that has me excited. Obviously, this is a team we kind of put together after last year's national tournament. We feel really good about it. We love where we're at, love the training, have loved the offseason and what we did all summer long. Obviously, centered around Sebastian Rivera and his run at the World Championships. So we were very, very busy all summer long. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. We returned 13 national qualifiers. There's a good chance every one of our starters will be returning, or at least have been to the NCAA tournament, have NCAA experience at that tournament. So that obviously gives us a lot to be excited about. 9 home dual meets, which I know last year we only had 4. I got a lot of heat for that. So excited to have 9. We put this schedule together with this team in mind. We're going to bring in Virginia Tech November 17th to start this thing off right away. I believe they'll start the season either 3 or 4 in the country, depending on the poll. So that's huge. Not real happy where we're at season ticket-wise. Our staff, we got to do a little bit more in that department. We got to get our season tickets up to where they were back in that 2019 season, where they were over 3,000. So we'll work on that next 3 weeks. But what a bargain. I think for a little over $100, you get 9 home duels, parking pass, all that good stuff. Jersey Mike's Arena, incredible wrestling atmosphere. So we'll work on that the next couple weeks. But the out-of-conference schedule is challenging. Obviously, Virginia Tech I talked about, but Rider, Princeton, all teams that are pretty good and exciting matches for New Jersey. University of Pennsylvania on the road at the Palestra is something that's exciting. We'll start the year November 3rd out in California. Really good, I believe. I could be wrong, but Pac-12 champs, defending champs, Cal Poly, and Duke on the road. So that's how we'll start our season. We will be going to the Midlands tournament. I know it's not on our schedule because of dates, but there will be some guys wrestling at the Midlands tournament, depending on where we are from an individual standpoint, but that's something we will certainly do. Injury update, not really anything to report right now. If we had to start the season, I think we're in pretty good shape where we're at. Maybe a little, we'll be really cautious, just a little nick from Andy Clark, our 157-pounder. But other than that, we're pretty healthy, and we're going to stay that way at least till we open up. So quick recruiting standpoint, November 8th, National Signing Day. We're going to bring in a great class. 5 guys committed. All 5 are in the top 100 in the country. All 5 are in the top 10 in their weight classes. And then we have 2 in the top 4 that obviously I can't talk about right now. But that class coming in, that 24 class, is really special. It will certainly be a top 10 class when all is said and done. So we're excited about that. I want to thank my staff for doing a whole heck of a lot in the off season to get that class going and bring them in and continue doing what we're doing. So without further ado, let's open this up for some questions. I'm sure there's plenty in a busy off season and some guys coming back. So let's open it up.
Coach, good to see you again. Hope all is well. Out in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the last national tournament, you said, we got to keep bringing in talent, bring in people to challenge the guys in the room. Looking back at that comment, do you feel like you've done that with the team you got right now?
I feel like we did that. I do. I feel like we put a lot into the way the rules are shaped now. It was important for us to get in the portal. We had to get better. That doesn't mean the guys we had or have won't be ready at some point, but I just felt like going in after last year's national tournament and the way things fell and our conference and understanding the landscape of college sports, college wrestling in this case, where it's going, we had to continue to improve, and it wasn't going to be just reloading on recruiting class after recruiting class after recruiting class. It was going to be going into the portal, getting guys with experience, and not just getting guys to get guys. It was getting guys that have won at the highest level, and Jacob Butler and Mitch Moore and Yara have all done that, and so they bring a lot to us. They bring experience. They bring a lot of years. They come from great programs. They've been under some really good head coaches. And we've had success with grad transfer. We've had success with Bolsack. We've had success with Joey Heilman. It was something we absolutely needed to do and give our guys a little bit more time. And it doesn't mean those guys won't be ready. Our guys at some point will be ready, but right now we just had to get this program better, and I feel very confident standing here today saying we did that.
On the same wavelength, Scott, is building a program different now than it was when you first started here?
Yeah, it's a lot different. It's a lot different, and getting guys with experience is really, really important. Development is a huge part of what we do. It's the best part, I feel, of what we do. I love taking a high school athlete, bringing them through here for 5 years and see where we can get them. That's always fun. But the landscape's changed. Recruiting has changed. The portal has changed things. It's the way it is, and we jump on board with it, whether we like it or not. And it's been good to us. And yeah, it's certainly changed. Building a program has changed. You got to find guys that have been at other programs that can come and fit your culture, fit your mold, and what you want. And again, we've been very, very fortunate the past 2 years. And after 2 months, I feel like we're very fortunate again. So we got some good ones for sure.
Going back to the guys you brought in, Coach, specifically Yaroslav Slavakovsky, he really solidifies that heavyweight grad transfer from Harvard. What can you say about him, what he's brought to the room since he came in?
Just a true professional. Yara is all three of them, but you're asking about Yara, and he's we've never had a big guy that kind of trains like this, runs like this, swims like this. He trains at a very, very high level. He's exciting to watch. He wrestles like a lightweight. He's into it, and again, he's a little bit different, right? Usually you get a 6-year guy, they want to live on their own, live in their apartment. He's living in the dorms with freshmen and a couple sophomores, so that's been really, really good, and comes from Belarus, so there's no going home. He's here all summer long, but again, a professional, and has won a lot of matches at that weight, and we feel like he's going to do some really good things, not only in the conference but on the national level, and that's the plan, is the top of the podium for someone like that.
Coach, what have you seen out of John Posnanski this offseason and heading into this season?
Yeah, you'll see him practice just a whole heck of a lot bigger, a whole heck of a lot stronger. There is no weight issue. We're not losing weight anymore. We're focused on wrestling. You'll talk to him in a little bit here, but totally healthy. Again, doing things outside the box with his weight training, which is great, and he's gotten really, really a lot bigger and stronger and faster, and that year off might have been good for him. There's a lot of pressure that comes with a guy that comes in as a true freshman, places fourth. There's all these expectations, the next Suriano, the next Ashnault, who's the next national champ, and that was a different type of year, and you got to be able to go through the Big Ten rigors and handle it year in and year out. And I think now with a really sound mind right now where he's at, and understanding his capabilities of what he can do on and off the mat is really changed the way he's approaching this. And I think you'll see a much better, not that he always hasn't been really, really good. I just think you'll see a much better John Posnanski.
Coach Brian Soldano was a key piece of last year's team. Yeah. I mean, a freshman with team leading in points, 23 wins, 8 pins, was a standout in the national championships last year. What are his expectations going into this next campaign after a historic freshman year? I
think for all these guys, the guys you're going to talk to today, and the right, it's easy to sit here and say we want to win national championships. That's the goal here. That's the vision. That's what these guys have set out to do. We've had 2 guys that have done it, and they're all chasing that, and they all believe they can do that. But that's the expectation. Brian's going to have to wrestle at a high level all year long. He's going to be in some great matches all year long. He's one of the most exciting wrestlers in the country. He's a fan favorite because of his style of wrestling, which to me worries me at times, but at this point I'm okay with it. You know, it is what it is, and it's not going to change. But there's been a lot of work on the basics, right? There's been a lot of work on leg attacks. There's been a lot of work on, you know, cleaning little things up. But he's still always going to be Brian. But you'll talk to him here in a little bit. His expectations probably to win a national title right now, and his expectation from our staff standpoint is to win big matches and be a leader on this team and help this team win big matches, because for us that's the next step. And then when we get to the postseason, we let him do what he does. But I'll tell you, I'm sure that's what he's thinking, to be on the top of the podium.
Coach, you returned many key players from last year. Could you just speak more about your team you have for this season and your expectations for them?
Yeah, we returned a lot of guys. And we bring in a lot of experience. So it's a team. It's probably, I don't know, on paper, is it the best team we've ever had? I don't know. There's a lot to be said there, right? Let's see how it finishes. So it's probably from top to bottom, from a dual meet standpoint, the most solid team maybe we've ever had. So that's the expectation. We need to take the next step, right? We're always going to have guys that do well at the Big Ten's national tournament. We've had multiple All-Americans for years, other than last year, you know, going all the way back to 2014. We've had champs. What's the next step for this program? Knocking off one of the Big Four, right? Knocking off the Big Ten powers. Being in the thick. I think in 2017 we were 5th in the Big Ten championships. That's the expectation. That's where this team, you know, it's by far, from an individual standpoint, where we're ranked preseason, by far the best top to bottom team we've had. But again, that's on paper, right? So there's expectations here. There's always going to be expectations. It's what this has been, you know, it's what we've built this thing around. You know, we've been here 17 years now, and the expectations are really, really high. And now we have to manage it and match it. And it's a long year, but at the end of the day, at the end of March, we need to be in the thick of this thing. And that's kind of where we're at as a program right now.
Coach, I asked before about Soldano, but another youngster that was a key piece of last year's team was Joey Oliveri. And the way he was able to turn things around and be a key piece in that 141 weight class. What are his expectations this year? How can he and Soldano be sort of a 1-2 punch when it comes to the underclassmen?
Yeah, I think I might have said this in last year's press conference. We're going to start Joey in a redshirt year. You know, Mitch Moore, you know. I might have said this 2 years ago too. Yeah, we're going to start Joey in a redshirt year because we brought in Mitch Moore, and Mitch Moore will go down. We have Joey Fangaro at that weight. So we have a couple guys there. So I got to believe we're able to do that for Joey and give him a year of development. But he's a huge part of what we're doing. He's a leader, the way he trains, his lifestyle, love being around him, great kid. But his expectation, if you ask me today, which you just did, is to lead this team. And don't take this as this is my year off. This isn't a year off. He's going to compete. He's going to compete a lot, and he's got to get better. He's got to get better in all three areas, top, bottom, neutral, and that's the expectation. And hopefully we're able to give him this year to continue to develop, and he's a huge part of what we're doing anyway. But, you know, hopefully he still continues to be a leader and a huge part of what we're doing.
Coach, when you talk about the development of some of these guys, Anthony White, he's going up a couple of weight classes this year, so he's obviously a lot bigger, and he seemed to kind of catch on later towards the latter stages of last season. How's his transition to a bigger weight this year? I believe 165 compared to what you had him at last year.
Yeah, it's a transition. You never know, right? Here's what I'll tell you. In the conference, it's a great weight class, right? So I'm anxious to see how he, you know, wrestles at that weight. I know we brought him over to U20s, I believe, 74 kilos, 163 pounds. He was plenty big, plenty strong. That was in April. He's the one guy. I mean, there's a lot of guys, but he's the one guy I think about when you talk about total buy-in, total weight room all spring, all summer. Right now, downstairs before practice, 4 days a week, he's training, he's lifting, was here all summer long. He's going to be special. He's going to be special. Will it take time at the weight? I don't know. That's yet to be seen, but I don't ever worry about him being out toughed or out strength. He'll be fine. He's plenty big for the weight. He weighed 182 to start preseason, plenty big for the weight, and maybe that is what slowed him down. Maybe the weight cut and the constant keeping his weight at 155 all year long. He's super disciplined, very strong mentally. This has been good for him to go up and develop his wrestling, and he's a tough out for anybody. So I'm anxious to see how it plays out.
Getting back to Paz, Scott, 2 years ago, after he got pinned in the Michigan State match, was he ever really healthy?
I don't ever, wrestling's wrestling, right? You're always going to be banged up. You're always going to be nicked up. Was he? Yeah, there was some, I'm sure there was, and maybe it creeps in your head a little bit mentally, where am I at? But we're not, John won't use that as an excuse. I won't use that as an excuse. That was a tough night, no doubt about it. It's a learning experience, right? We learn from that. We move on, and I know he's right now, and I think that's all that matters, that he's right now, and he's excited again. He's excited again. Sometimes, and John and I talked about this quite a bit, sometimes less is more. Everybody thinks go, 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 train. Just wrestle, keep getting better. Sometimes rest is good. Sometimes the rest away from the program is good. Sometimes the rest away from the constant grind. He's been doing this for a long time, doing it straight for a long time is good. And I think this is the best version we've seen. And I know I've said that before about guys and, the best version of this guy and the best version of that guy. It's just the way I feel right now. This is the best version of John Poznansky I've seen. So hopefully it translates.
This time last year, you had a couple weights that were unsettled. Where are you in terms of your lineup? Obviously, the rankings came out and had all your guys ranked.
Yeah.
Was that pretty accurate and where we should expect to see your guys this year?
I think that's a fair question. I mean, I never like to label these are my starters, and because we have indicator matches coming up this week, but I don't know how many of those will really be contested. We'll do matches because we have refs coming in, and it's good to make weight and have a real ref and a simulation, and so we'll do all that. But there's a couple guys that deserve a chance to wrestle in this lineup and have really trained hard and we feel can win. But for the most part, our lineup's our lineup, and but a lot can happen. Guys have to continue. I think off the top of my head, Joe Fungaro, Michael Chetta, Luke Gayer, those guys got to wrestle. They got to wrestle. Shane Cartagena-Walsh is a freshman who's exciting and wrestles really hard. We got to see if he can compete at this level, and so he's going to wrestle some matches. I don't know. I don't want to talk about a pitch count because I don't. You guys know how dual meets are really important to me, but I don't know if Jackson Turley needs to wrestle every match. I don't know if Mitch Moore needs to wrestle every single match. I don't know if Paz and Soldano need to go every single time. I think we got guys with experience and have been through it. And, does Dean Peterson need to go every single time? I don't know. We got to be really, really smart. So I got to have other guys ready. So are our starters our starters? I kind of went through the whole lineup there, and you kind of get it. You've seen the rankings and kind of see where we're at. But there will be some guys that are involved in this lineup that are wrestling in matches, and because one, they deserve it, or they got to prove they deserve it, right? They got to be able to perform, and we'll get a look at that early on and see where they're at. But for the most part, I feel good about where our lineup's at for sure.
I want to ask about Sebastian Rivera because the standard he set at Rutgers was massive, and now what he's doing post-Rutgers is even bigger.
Yeah.
What sort of expectations or what high standard has he set for Rutgers wrestlers here?
Well, I just think he's a 5-time All-American. That's right with the COVID. That's never really been done. So he's done it every single year. That's for him, and the way he coaches and talks to guys. It's kind of he expects them to be at his level, which is hard to do, right? And then the way he prepared for the World Championships, there's not really an off button there with Sebastian, and it's translating really, really well when guys see it. Guys listen to him. I hope they respect it. He's won at the highest level. His World Championship run was special because he did it right in that room. Now, we brought some guys in. We brought partners in. But for the most part, it was our guys training with him. A lot of it was our guys training with him, so they understood what he was trying to do. Sebastian gets to 10 weeks out and flips a switch, and that's it. And he's on this training regimen, and our guys got to see that firsthand, and our guys are still competing with him every single day. That's important, it's a high level. And again, there's no real off switch for him, so that not everybody can do that. Not everybody can be on every single day, and guys need days off, and guys need rest, and it's the way he trains, which I hope inspires people, inspires me. He trains really, really hard. But to sit in that wrestling room that day, about a month back, and watch him compete, second in World Championships, huge for this program, huge for us, great for Sebastian, and now there's an Olympic berth. And we'll, just not to get off tangent here, but what we're trying to do is bring 10 to 12 guys over to Italy and simulate his training camp before the Olympic Games, and in 4 days he'll go to Paris. But we'll try to do that over at Italy and bring our guys and bring his training partners and our team. And so now we're traveling together, kind of like what basketball did and all that. We'll try to do that, which would be great for our guys and great for him to bring the Rutgers Wrestling Room to Italy, and then he'll go off to Paris. So big part of what we're doing here, and it just shows right in that room right there you can do anything you really want to do.
Coach, you mentioned the World Championships, and you look at Dylan Shulver's at U23s
Yeah.
right now. He's moving up a weight this year. Just talk about him compared to last year now going into this year. It seems like he's probably at the right weight now, and now they have a nice 1-2 punch with Dean and obviously Shulver right there.
Yeah, I'm excited about that 1-2 punch. It's one of the better ones in the country if they wrestle at that level. So, yeah, I'm super excited. Dylan didn't have a great match this morning. That's part of it. That's freestyle wrestling. His training has been great leading up to it. He's been on a little bit of a different training cycle than our guys, obviously, and because he's getting ready to compete. He competed this morning. So he'll get back here. He'll be ready to go. He'll be better up at 133 for sure. Again, spent all summer here, obviously. When you're getting ready to compete in a world championship, there's a lot of focus on you. And, so he was here all summer with our guys and because we had to get him ready. So, but yeah, I'm excited about those guys. I'm excited about Dean and Dylan, both in the lineup together. That was a big storyline, right? How are you going to fit Paz and Soldano in the lineup together? Worked out beautifully. How are you going to fit Peterson and Shulver in the lineup? It's worked out beautifully. So this is the decision those guys made, Dylan and John, to move up, feel much better about it. And I'm all for it. So we got all of our guys that we, set out to get in the lineup. They're all in the lineup now, which sets up for hopefully a really good year.
We'll close this out with Steve. You feel better about the middle of the lineup now? Because that's been kind of up and down in recent years.
Yeah, I feel we got some good guys in there. We got some good guys, and Andy Clark maybe has made the best jumps in our program over the last 2-3 years. And I know where Tony White's going. I know there's question marks because he's moving up 2 weights, and there should be. But I feel like that's always been a 165 since Richie left. Has always been. Everybody wonders what it's a really good weight in the conference, and but I feel like Tony White could be good. I love where Jacob's at. It's been nice seeing somebody new come in and be able to compete. So I feel like we're in a good spot. If we get Turley back to where Turley was, and even at the end of last year, Turley's had the best preseason he's ever had here. So if he can wrestle at that high level like he did at the Big Ten tournament, the national tournament throughout the year, yeah, I think I don't know if you constitute Turley as an upper weight or a middleweight, but middleweight, yeah. Yeah, I feel like we could be good there. That's going to be the way those guys go will be the way this dual meet-wise, the way this team goes, and if we can win big matches through the middle there, we're going to be all right. I appreciate you guys. Obviously, November 17th, huge part of what we're doing. Virginia Tech match, we're going to sell out Jersey Mike's Arena. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Just keep pumping that. And thanks for everything you guys do for us.